and table. So what we're going to do here is to create our forms for art faculty and also create our forms for department and also for programs if the time allows us to do that. Right. So let me just close this. Remember in the previous class, which is lesson 4a, we created this table. So if I'm to run this, let's run it. So I will see where we stop in the last class, which is lesson 4b. Pi up the pi. Okay. So if I go to my browser, so let me type this. So this is what we did in the previous class where we created our add faculty button, our delete all faculties, our edit faculty, and our delete faculty. Now what we're going to do here in this class is to create a form for add faculty and also create a form for update faculty. So when the users click on the edit table, it takes the user to the update form. Right? That's what we're going to do. Now also we're going to do department and programs if the time allows us to do that. Let's get started. So here we're not going to use the HTML form, we're going to use a flask form, right? Because one of the main reasons of using the flask form is that it prevents the cross-site request forgery, right? So if you check here, what is a flask form? Now in Flask, a flask form refers to the integration of the WT forms with Flask WTF. So this is an extension to which simplifies handling and validation form in Flask web application. So it provides a Python-based way to create forms, manage input feeds, validate user inputs, and protect forms with the cross-site request forgery. Now let's go to the benefit, of course, of this Flask form. So looking at this, you can see that Flask WTF automatically includes a cross-site request forgery token to prevent unauthorized form submission for malicious users, right? So other benefits include the automatic validation, and reusable and clean code. So remember that in this lesson, our main aim of using this is to build an efficient and very clean web application, efficient, secure, and very clean web application. And we are following the standard format. So I urge you guys to follow this so that you can become a better web developer. Right. So, but if you want to design any other application, ranging from the desktop application or mobile application, you can refer to my YouTube channel. And if you're having any issue concerning machine learning and data science, you can also contact me for me to teach you accurately well. Okay. So now let's go to the software which I've created. So this is the list faculty.html, right? Which is this one here. If you don't know how to do this, you can move to our lesson 4a. We did this in lesson 4a. So now what I'm going to do here is to go to, you can see here, this is the faculty folder, right? If I open it like this, you see the templates folder. So I will right click this template folder, then click on this and I'll add faculty.html, right? So what I will do here is to remember we have a base template HTML template which is index.html. So we inherit this add faculty. We inherit from the base HTML template which is index.html. So I have to do this extends index.html. So close it with a percentage symbol like this. So I will have my block title. So my block title, then end block. So I'll call this add faculty. So let me just copy this. So I have my block content. So I'll move this one. So I will change this title to content. So this is where I will define all the HTML structures of this add faculty. This I will define inside here, right? So let's move on. Now I will close this, Ctrl C. So what we need here, we need the extension to call the flags of the TF for to be able to create our form. So pip install flags WTF, right? So if I click OK, and there's no internet, so while they have it installed, right? So if there's internet, you can install it. I've already installed it on, which is inside my virtual environment, right? So if I go to my virtual environment here, This is my virtual environment. You go to your library, you can then cite packages, you will see the flask WTF. It's already here. Okay. So let's go back to our faculty. So these are faculty. Now, I'll go out of this template folder, right? Remember that in this faculty, we have the init.py, which set up the blueprint. We have the models where we have defined our tables. Then we have the views that we define our functional requirements of this particular module, right? So now I'm going to create an extra script in faculty model, right? You can see this is the faculty folder. Then I will click this, then I'll call it forms.py. So this is where I'm going to define the form, right? Because I've already installed the WTF, so I have to call it from flask WTF, right? So I'm going to import everything that I need using the star sign, right? Then from the WT forms, I'm going to import also everything I need. Then from WT forms.validator, I'm going to import everything I need instead of just writing them one after the other to just see the star sign. Okay, now I'm going to define a class for my faculty form. I'll call it faculty form. Flax form because a flax form, right? So I'm going to have the ID equal to the hidden field. I will explain this one. I will explain this one. Okay, now what this one does is this the ID. Remember that the ID is a primary key for this faculty, right? So I made it an hidden field here so that it will help us during the update when we're trying to update this faculty. When we try to like update the form, you see how it works when we're doing the create, read, write, and update, but not in this lesson, right? So I will have the other one, which is the next attribute, which is faculty name. So this is a string field. This is a string field. Then I'll put my label. So the label should be faculty name. Then I'll put a validator. Now, all this validator means is that we want the user to key in something here, right? We want the user to key in something here, so we want to leave it empty. So that's what's the data required. And you can add more validators like the length, but just let's leave it like this, right? So I'll copy this and paste this. I'll change this to code. Then this is faculty code. Then I'll have my submit button, which I'll call it submit, equal to submit field. Then let me call this label, let's call it save changes. I've successfully created my Flask form. So the next thing I will do here is to go to my view here. You can see here, go to my views now, and then import that form. Go to from app.thefaculty folder, right? Dot forms, which is a script. The script is dot forms. You can see dot forms. Then import the faculty form. So I will use it here. So what I will do now is to create a function to add faculty. So put the add, which is dot character. Then this is a blueprint variable which we have already set in the ini.py. If you don't know how to set it, you can refer to our lessons, our previous lessons, how we do this, right? So the routes. Let's call this add faculty. Now, there's something I want to teach you guys in the hypertext transfer protocol, which is the HTTP. We have what we call the get. We have what we call, let me put it here. We have what we call the get. We have what we call the post. We have what we call the put. I also have what we call the delete, right? So now we'll be using the get and the post, which I will explain here. Using the get, and also we'll be using the post. So now what this get does is get retrieves like retrieving information and then pass the information to the HTML page. That's what it does, right? So because we define our form in a script, in a Python script, which is forms.py, we need to use a get because we are passing that form to our HTML page, which is the add faculty.html. That is why we need a get. Then the post is for submission. So when we want to submit, the post is to submit the data. So the post is actually to submit the data, but we are not actually submitting the data in this lesson, but the post is to submit data. That is what we need post. So I'm going to explain put when we're looking at updates. I'm going to delete, right? To explain delete. Because although the name delete, so say delete from particular to delete, right? Or to remove, right? So let's start by defining, we have defined this is the part, this is your part, which is add faculty. So this is the method, the get. I've explained the get and I've explained the post. So we have our function, def, let me call it add faculty. So I'll create a variable called forms. We can write in, just create a variable for forms, and then this variable will hold the form we created, which is this one, right? This variable holds it. Then if forms.validate on submit. So what this means is that when we click on that save, when we click on this button here, or this is a button, right? This is a button. So when we click on this button, then what happens is when we click on the button, what will happen? That's why we say if forms are valid and submit, so that when we click the button, what happens? But for now, nothing will happen for now. So let's just pass a variable for now. Right, so the next video we're going to insert the record, but for now we're just building the form. So let's pass the variable. Let's say faculty name equals to now the forms dot. Now remember the forms dot this faculty name here. We'll copy this, go to the views.py, faculty name dot data. So anything the user type in here, so this variable called faculty name holds it, right? So that's why we have the forms.faculty.data. This data is a text. The user is like keying it in. So we're getting the data of what is in the string field or in the text field, and then passing it. Then this faculty name holds that data. Then we have another one. Let me just copy this. Have which will have the faculty code. So this should be the, if you go to the forms, we have the faculty code. Go to the view, just paste it here. So forms.faculty code.data. So anything the user keys in here, now this variable called faculty code will hold it. But right now we are not actually inserting. We just want to show our forms. Right? So normally if I want to insert, I will just write my function to insert here, but we'll do that in the next video. Insert the record. We'll do that in the next video. Right? So what I'm going to do is at the end it will return, we're return template. So we're returning this add faculty.html here. Add faculty.html. That's what we're returning. Now, because we're returning the form, we're returning this form to this add faculty, right? So we'll pass the form here, which is forms equal to form. So this forms, right? So we can use forms that you understand what I mean. So you can see we are passing this form. So this is a variable we created here, and we are passing this form, which is this that holds that form, the faculty form, which I will created in the form script, and then we're passing it to this place here. Definitely, we'll use it in the HTML. See how we use it, right? So if somebody clicks on the button, nothing happens. But on a normal scenario, when it inserts into the record, which we'll do that in our next video, you should like redirect to return redirect. So it's like performing URL for. So let's call this function. Let's call this function get faculty list. Copy this. So remember to put your folder name faculty dot the get faculty list. Right? So that is what it does when we click on the button. So now let's go to the add faculty.html. So let's define our forms now. So let me have a paragraph here within the body block content. I have my paragraph, double braces, then remember is form. Remember this form here, if you go to our view, this is a form, right? Because this form holds the entire form. So that's why we are calling it in our add faculty, right? So form dot a hidden tag. The hidden tag is the ID. The hidden tag helps to protect against it helps to protect against the cross-site request forgery. Helps protect against the cross-site request forgery. Right. So this helps it to protect this particular page. Right. So now I have my paragraph. So I have my double braces like this. So form dot faculty name dot label. Okay, let me explain this. Remember that this form is this one here we are calling, which is this one here, right? Form, then dot faculty name. If you go to the forms of Pi, so this is the faculty name we're calling to the HTML end, so that it can show, because when you see this string field, it will automatically bring the text for us, and this faculty name becomes what's the label. So this is the label we're calling here. This is the label we're calling here. So when we say form.faculty name the label, it calls this one, where's the form? It calls the faculty name, this label here. That's what it calls. So when we say forms.faculty name, it calls the field, which is this string field, which becomes the text. So we'll do the same thing now. Just copy this and paste it here, which becomes, I will move the label, and that's it, right? From the faculty. So this should be, this, this is the text field, and this one here, this is the text label. Okay, so I will copy this and then paste this here. So I will have my faculty code. So this becomes the faculty code. So the last one we have is the button. The button. So it will be form that submit, not no label. Form that submit. Remember this submit here is, if you go to the forms, you will see the submit variable submit. Right? So the label automatically comes in, which is save changes. Right? So where am I? Okay, the add faculty. Now we are done with the faculty. We're done with the faculty, add faculty HTML. We're done with that. Now, if you want to make this final, because although we'll do that in the next class, if you want to make this final, right? So you can just within here, within these brackets, right? You can put class equal to. Now you can define your class in your CSS file. You can put class equal to. You can define your class in CSS file and then pass the name of the class here, right? So we have already defined the class for button. So I will just put. I'll put the class and see how it works. I'll put the class. Okay. So if I go to my static folder, if I go to my static folder, let's go to the static folder, CSS, this is the style. I think we defined button in our previous classes. So this is the button. So let's use button primary. I will just copy this, then go to my faculty folder, then add faculty.html. I'll just paste it here. So this is the class we defined. Okay. Now we are done with the faculty. We are done with the add faculty. So we'll go to release faculty now. You can see we have a button called add faculty here. We're going to like link it up. You can see the double braces, then URL4. Then I will call the name of the folder, which is faculty dot the name of the function. So if I go to the views of Pi, then I will copy the name of the function here. This is the name of the function. I'll copy it. I'll paste it here. Yeah, I'll paste it here. Okay. In the add faculty, there's something we actually forgot, right? So because this is an HTML tag, right? So we didn't actually put our form before writing this. So what I will do is to put our form here, then close it. You can see what I did here. Then there's always a method. So the method, remember, because we are submitting this data, we use post. Remember that we don't use get. Remember we already defined get here. We already defined get in our view.py. This get is why we define this is because we are passing this faculty form to our HTML end here. We are passing the form to our HTML. That's why we use get. So what the get does is that when we click on that function, we pass out this form that all these ones have been collected from this function we defined here. That's how we use get. So if you remove the get, they will actually throw an error. Then when we say form post, we are posting. When we click on the button submit, we are actually posting this data to the database server. But we have not written a function yet. We have not written the function yet. We have not written the codes to pass the information to our we have not written the information to pass. We have not written the function to pass the record to our database management system. Okay, so what we just did is that when somebody click on this button, it redirects us to the faculty to get faculty list. So when you trace that function here, it's this function is actually directing you to list faculty.html. Right? So then go back to the add faculty. So you can see this is a form post form. So I will copy everything here that we have defined. I'll copy everything here. Then I'll paste it inside the form here. Done. So that's it. So you can decide to add action here, but there's no point. If I add action, it's just to add the function here. But there's no point to still work like this, right? To still work like this. So let's run our application. So if I click on the pie, app the pie. Okay, so let me refresh this. Okay, although this will throw an error because I've not defined my key. So just watch what will happen. So if I click on this, you can see the error. A secret key is required to use this. So we need a secret key. We need a secret key to use this. So everybody has his own key. So we need a secret key to secure this application. So what I will do here is to set up the key, I'll go to the global init.py, the global init.py, which is this one here. So I'll click on this where we set up our Flask application. So inside this factory function here, I'm going to write my app.secret key. Most times the app.secret key should be in the app config, but since this is just a tutorial class, let me just make it like this. So this is my key like this. So definitely we should not run an error again. Okay. So if I click this is then if I click add faculty, okay, got button primary. So let's check the add faculty. Oh, it's this sign here. Okay, so let's run this one. Okay, now you can see what happens. You can see our form, right? So let's click it again. So if I click on add faculty, you can see what it does. It shows me the faculty name. Although this is not fine because we have not applied the CSS file. But you can see the one we have applied CSS file for the button. You can see the save changes. This is the label. You can see the faculty name is the label. The faculty code is the label. You can see the string field, which is the text field that shows here, which we can type. So when I click on this, right? When I click on this field, it's telling me to put in something because of the validator. So it can't submit without putting in something. You can say, please fill the field. That is that validator we keyed in. So if I click on this, it's taking me back to this because of the function. So if you look at the function here, if you look at the function here in the views.py, if you look at the function here in the views.py, when I click on the save button, it should redirect me to faculty.getFaculty list. And if you look at the get faculty list function is redirecting me to list faculty.html. So that is what is happening here. You can see. So when I click on this, right? So if you click on save changes, you can't actually key it in because of that validator. Then if I click on save changes, it takes me to the list faculty. So that is how it works. So in the next video, what we'll do is, so when we click on this, it will submit that record and then it will show that record in this table. Right? So I hope you understand this lesson 4B. Lesson 4C, we're going to look at the department module and also the program module. If you can do the department module and the program module yourself, on the next 4D, we're going to look at the inserting record, insert record, how we can update the record because we're going to do the same thing for insert and update. Then how we can delete that record. So once we are done with 4D, then I will give you guys the four. Then I will give you guys the task to complete the level course group, which I will guide you guys on the. I'll build the model on how it will look like. I will just build a model how it will look like so that it aid you to complete the rest of the application. And then once you are done, you can pick up the task and start designing it and see how simple it is. Which you guys well. Thank you and God bless you.